Hello guys! So as always, I'm here with you guys for the Filmmaking Time show, and my name is Antos. I'm your host, and I've also got my brother Lucas here with me.
Hi everyone.
So anyways, today's show is going to be a little bit of talking about some topics. One of them being the 4K video editing machines, right? And so we're going to talk about a little bit about that, but I do promise you we're going to get to your submissions because last week we didn't have time, which was a good thing. I guess we had a lot to talk about. But anyway, so today's show, like I said, is going to be quickly. We'll talk about some topics about the video editing machines, answer any questions you guys have, and then get into the submissions. And also, I was going to say something and I totally forgot what I was going to say. Lucas, do you have anything to add to that?
Sorry, I just can you repeat that? I was just
What happened? I'm seeing double Lucas. I don't know what's happening. I think it's a Skype thing. Let me see if I can. Yeah, it's like there's like a U in the window there. I don't know, but okay, now it's good. All right. So yeah, so I guess yeah, well, let's get into maybe I guess the topic, right? I wanted to mention something, but I forgot what it was.
Okay, well, maybe later it will come to you.
Yeah, maybe. Let's hope so. But yeah, anyways, as always, let us know where you guys are joining us from. What time is it over there? I always love to hear, like, all the different places around the world where people join us. So let us know about that. But first thing I want to talk about is 4K video editing machines. And we've done a few posts about it, and I guess we've done several about laptops because I've gone through several laptops myself because I travel a lot and I need to have something that I can actually edit 4K video. And Lucas also works mainly off a laptop, but we also did a video and a whole post about like a 4K computer build. So if you guys want to see here, it's actually, by the way, the links are provided in the description of the video, so you guys can see it there. But this is the post here. It's basically on our website, tomantosfilms.com, and you'll see it here. This was done in basically a year ago, August 25th, 2006. I mean 2006, 2016. And anyway, so this was my PC. This is still the same PC that I'm using to this day. And you guys can kind of, there's a whole video obviously about how I put it together and all that stuff and all the parts that we got for it and where we got it. I, by the way, got pretty much, I think, most of the parts we got on Amazon, right, Lucas?
Yeah, on Amazon. Yeah.
Yeah, so got the parts on Amazon, and so again, you guys can follow if you want to have that same build. Now, I just kind of wanted to do, I guess, a follow-up. A year later, how do I feel about the PC? There's good and there's bad. One thing I definitely would recommend that you guys don't do is don't get this big case that I got. I guess the good thing about the case is that the computer never overheated because things are not cramped together. But it's huge, and it's like first when I was building it, I got it like out of the box. I was like, oh man, this is freaking big. But once you put it together, and then you kind of want to stow away somewhere, like I have it under my video editing desk. It's just a pain hiding it. It's like I have a little like a shelf underneath my computer desk for a computer. And it fits like those standard desktop kind of things. It does not fit that beast. That thing barely fits under like I said, it's like this massive table I have. Barely fits there, and then I have ports on the top of that case where you can hook up USB and things like that. And I can't access those because it's too big. So I'm actually thinking of a different solution, and I might even want to, in the future, just get a smaller case. Because I literally, since then, I've added a few hard drives, but that's it. And I just realized like there's all this empty space in that case. I don't really need it. So that was one thing. What do you think?
And actually, I just wanted to add to that because we're like also like before we bought, we also read online different recommendations in terms of cases, right? And the case we got was actually one smaller than the one that was recommended, right? For this kind of a setup in terms of the power performance, the heat, that the system would generate.
Yeah.
So the case we got is actually smaller than what was suggested to us online. So yeah, it's still too big. Yeah, it is definitely too big. I mean, yeah, for the setup that we have, right?
Yeah.
And so which also means actually the power supply that we recommended. I mean, I've updated the post, but if you go with 750 watt power supply for the system there, it would be enough. I mean, we knew about it. We knew right from the beginning that we're getting a bigger supply than we need, mainly because of we were thinking maybe we would use a second GPU.
But, yeah, I guess. I mean, but we do say that in the video, like original videos, that you don't need a big power supply like what we're getting. And it's funny because there's like a ton of comments on that video telling us, you don't need a big power supply. And it's like, well, that's exactly what we said in the videos. You don't need to go as big unless you're thinking maybe in a future upgrading, adding other things. Big one that would draw a lot of powers, another GPU. But yeah, I mean, otherwise, another little follow-up. All the people who are complaining again in the comments of that video about my cable management or mismanagement. I did do another video later on where I kind of showed how I did it. I did clean it up. The case has all these things for, tucking away the cables. But guess what? I'm one of those people who doesn't care how the computer looks as long as it just works. And I did all the cable management, spent like another freaking hour rerouting all the cables. And it was an hour wasted for me because the computer's tucked away. I never see through that glass opening. And it made no difference in performance or keeping the computer cooler or anything like that at all. So, but anyways, you can do it. It's really up to you. Overall, many people have been asking me, like, am I still using that machine? What do I think about it? All that stuff. It's good. I mean, for video editing, it works like a beast. Now, here's the thing. It's not without issues. And I've had some issues, and I was kind of for a while thinking, what could be some of the problems that I had with the computer in some instances? Well, one instance was a feature film that I worked on where somebody else did like the main edit. They sent it to me to kind of tighten up the edit and do some color grading. Anyways, they sent me the project files. This was in Adobe Premiere project files that were done in another version. I imported it in, and I could edit it no problem. But then when the time came to render, like let's say a section of the film as a preview, or sometimes even in the timeline, certain clips would just go black. And I couldn't for the life of me figure out what the hell was happening. And then I realized that whenever I had lumetri applied to certain basically shots, the lumetri color, right, for color grading in Premiere, that's when those basically lumetri didn't always work. Then bunch of research I did and stuff. Turns out the lumetri uses GPU. So then I thought maybe there's something wrong with my GPU. I turned off the GPU acceleration, which you can do in Premiere. Also the same thing in Adobe Media Encoder when I was rendering. And then it rendered everything. It just went super freaking slow. So I was thinking to myself, okay, maybe my GPU can handle it. But then like I would test that out with some video games and it works super smooth. So I'm like, no, the GPU works. Maybe it's not compatible. I have no idea. Or maybe it is a little bit damaged. And long story short, turns out that it's actually a bug with Adobe Premiere. Especially when you're importing older versions of projects. I basically had to delete all the previews and kind of not just open that project, but import it into an already project that I had, and then that took care of all these problems. So I'll tell you guys, the performance really depends on what software you're using. For example, when I edit in DaVinci Resolve, which is not my main editing software, and I kind of use it when I have to, when I'm shooting RAW, for example, formats and stuff. But otherwise, I'm a Adobe Premiere guy. I love Adobe Premiere, and I prefer working in Adobe Premiere. But I'll tell you that when I edit in DaVinci Resolve, no problems. I edit, like, not jokingly, I can load in the Ursa Mini, for example, Cinema DNG, image sequence, 4.6K, RAW, and I can play it like that, no problems. Never stops on me, never gives me any problems with buffering and thing. Whereas Adobe Premiere, and I think kind of what it is Adobe Premiere is a great software, but they try to cater to all these different camera formats, and so you can do a lot of different things. And there's a lot of bugs. And people who use Adobe Premiere, there's a lot of, like, if you go to user forums, you'll know a lot of people complaining about, oh, I have this issue, or I got this laptop or this GPU right now and it's not playing back thing. Or, like, for example, the issue with the Panasonic GH5 files. If you're recording 10-bit internally in the GH5, it still doesn't support it, or last time I checked it didn't. It's just like, so that's kind of what it is. It's Adobe Premiere, it's great, it's got amazing features, but because they try to cater to every format out there, every camera, sometimes things happen, I guess, conflicts and things like that. And also they want to support as many GPUs and all that stuff. Whereas Resolve, for example, is kind of more mainstream, only supports certain formats. only certain, basically hardware configurations. Because of that, if you're within that, you can't just use any other, like just any hardware that you want or any machine. But if you use that, and you have good hardware, then it's going to work. And the same thing I'll tell you, that because some people are asking me why I just don't go with Mac. Personally, I hate Mac. I actually got an iPhone after like years. I got this iPhone, and I got it literally because I got some few accessories.
It's your first iPhone ever, right? I mean, not after years, but it's your first iPhone ever.
No, I've had another before. I've had an iPhone that got stolen, and then I had an iPad for music and stuff. But anyways, I never liked these things. I just know I got it. So anyways, I got this iPhone. I hate it, by the way. It's got some great things about it, but there's things that I don't want to get into a thing. But it's got there's some cool apps and accessories that you can only get on iPhone, so that's why I got it. This is actually one of them. This is the Lumu Power. It's like basically it's a little thing you plug in, and you turn your phone into not just an amazing light meter, but like a color meter and like a whole bunch of other things. Anyway, I'm going to probably do a video because I'm in the middle of testing this thing, so you guys can see kind of what this thing can do. But anyways, so I'm not a big fan of Apple products, iPhones, all that stuff, including their computers. And it's a preference. It's personal preference in terms of like I've used them before. Like when I first started working in any kind of graphics field, that's what I used. My first, I remember, intern job in high school. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of Apple. But I do have to admit that if you are gonna get an Apple, not the Hackintosh, because those have a shitload of problems, but an actual Apple computer that's according to Apple is actually meant for video editing, even like some of their thin laptops, which can handle a lot. And then you get not Adobe Premiere, but get Final Cut, which personally I still don't like editing in. But if you get that combo, because the software and the hardware, it was kind of designed together to work, and there isn't, the Final Cut isn't designed to work with all these other possible computers and GPUs. It's just designed to work with a Mac computer. So because it's been kind of streamlined, it's just a day and night difference. Like honestly, and whenever I've had a chance to like edit or play around on somebody's Mac computer and edit in Final Cut, I always get like this close to becoming a convert and editing in getting a Mac and editing in Final Cut. But that's literally just comes down to not because their hardware is great. Their hardware is actually less than what I have in my like there's some expensive Macs you can get that are better, more powerful than the computer that I put together. But on average, when most people edit on Macs, they're actually pretty weak when you look at the GPU and the CPU and all that stuff. But it's because the software and the hardware has been configured to work beautifully. It blazes through 4K video, even raw video. So, kind of go figure. It's not just about getting the biggest, I guess, hardware specs. But anyways, long story short, my desktop still works great. Not all the time with Premiere. With that, I have sometimes a freaking nightmare, and Premiere doesn't really handle the raw cinema DNG sequences very well. And DaVinci Resolve, it works amazingly smooth, kind of like I showed in that original video. Now, Lucas, I know you've been kind of, I guess, using since the beginning of this year, right? Your laptop.
Right. The Asus. Yeah. So I got basically a budget gaming laptop. And just to give you an idea, the kind of footage I edit normally, it's like 4K footage from Panasonic cameras like the G85, or also Tom shoots we were shooting with the GH5, also the Panasonic GH5. So I've been editing that also. GH4 footage. I mean, sometimes Tom, you will send me footage from the Ursa. Now that's not raw, but you send me, right? But some 4.6K footage. So yeah, my laptop handles it like
it's in ProRes, which actually, I mean, they're huge files, but they're actually, I find them they're easier. Like you don't need as beefy computer because they're not as encoded, right? So the ProRes stuff.
So editing experience is smooth.
And it's here I'm showing to all the viewers here. It's what is it? It's the Asus GL553, right? That's the model you have, right? And you did upgrade it, which again, I put the link to the upgrade video that you did. What did you do with it after?
So I added an SATA 3 SSD. So it's just a M.2 SSD. So it's very simple to install. Like I said, it's more time consuming, I guess, to move the operating system to the new drive, which I did. And that's the like that did make a.
Hello. Oh, I think we lost Lucas. Right. Something happened here to Skype. Damn you, Skype. Get my brother back online. Anyways, I'm gonna wait for him to come back. And in the meantime, I guess I can talk about it. I mean, I know that he kind of did a similar upgrade to his laptop, like basically I did, which was when I bought a laptop also last year, and I use it to this day. It's actually a laptop here that I'm using for all the streaming. But yeah, that laptop I used it. What do you call it? If I used it, I'm using it to this day. But I also had to upgrade it after a few months, and it wasn't so much the laptop was bad. It's just it still worked just as good as the day I got it. But to make it even better, kind of you can save yourself a lot of money by getting a basic, like sort of, you could say a basic, or a laptop that has a good deal in terms of the GPU, the hardware, like for example the CPU, the memory, all that stuff, but not the SSDs. I don't know why, but the laptop manufacturers charge premium for SSDs. But then it's so easy to upgrade it yourself and get the SSD that you care about, like having the speed and the size that you care about. And it comes out way cheaper than getting already a laptop with a big, powerful SSD already installed. The SSD is a solid state drive. And that's kind of what I did in my laptop. Made it world different, especially putting my operating system, all the editing applications on the... Oh, I believe my brother's calling here. Let's get him back on. All right. All right. I think we have you. We have you back. Yeah.
Okay. So ironic that as I'm talking about my laptop freezes on me.
Oh, and that's the one that you bought, right? That you were talking about.
Yeah. So basically, okay. So here, so yeah. In terms of the editing, okay. So I did upgrade the hard drive because otherwise the just had a slow, traditional HDD hard drive that the laptop came with. So I did this easy upgrade to a SSD. It's fairly.
Can you speak up, Lucas? I think it's for some reason all of a sudden your audio got really low. I don't know why. Yeah. It was good at the beginning and now it's like super low.
Suddenly, yeah.
Oh, now it's better. Yeah.
Okay, I haven't touched anything actually.
No, I don't. I think it's a Skype thing. It's like we gotta, I don't know, figure out maybe another way of doing this because Skype it's automatically adjusts the volume and it's just it's annoying. Anyways, yeah, go on.
Okay. So I did this easy upgrade with the SSD, and that I felt a big improvement in terms of like the user experience of using the laptop because it's just everything loads up so quickly and so on. But in terms of the CPU, GPU that I have, it's powerful enough to handle all the 4K footage from those Panasonic cameras, the ProRes footage or the ProRes footage from the Ursa. So it's been a really good experience. Just quickly to explain what happens with my laptop. So after a few months of using that, my laptop with the SSD, had no problems. But a couple of months back, I started to have issues with my laptop would freeze, and haven't been able to fix it yet so quickly. And so I've been looking online. Supposedly, Windows 10 sometimes doesn't play nicely with when it runs off SSDs, which is what I have. So then I looked at the fix if that's the problem, if that's what's causing the problem, but it hasn't fixed the problem. So maybe it's not the Windows that's causing the problem. Not sure. At some point I'll reinstall my Windows and see whether that fixes it. But yeah, in terms of just when I'm editing, and that has nothing. My computer freezing has nothing to do with editing because, again, sometimes I'll just don't have anything running and the laptop will freeze. So in terms of the editing experience, it's very smooth. And again, it's a budget gaming laptop, right? So it's not even So I'm not sure whether we want to get into other into I guess Quadro GPUs. Do we want to talk about it right now, Tom? Or?
No. I mean, if we can do a whole other video about it, but that's kind of I guess one thing I want to talk about is that. Yeah, there's other machines you can get that are designed just for video editing, and they're gonna work great, right? But they're gonna usually cost you premium, so a lot of more money. What we're talking about is kind of for indie filmmakers, what kind of software you can get or parts you can get out there, order, off the shelf kind of stuff you can get online in your local computer hardware store, and put a machine together or get a laptop and kind of do some little quick upgrades that anybody can do. To get something on a budget that can still handle 4K video. And like I said, the computer that I got, 4K video editing, raw, handles it beautifully in DaVinci Resolve. In Premiere, it's hit and miss depending on what filter, whatever things you have enabled in there. If you don't have any conflicts with the camera, whatever editing format, but otherwise it works. Like the hardware can support that. And on the laptop, I'll tell you, my laptop, I've got it in February of 2016, so it's over a year now. Works beautifully. I mean, the only thing I did is kind of similar to Lucas. Like I was saying, I added an SSD, so my operating system and everything is on it, and it's beautiful. It works. So like I said, that's really, I think, all you all you really need to if these days, if you're like an indie filmmaker, now if you want to get into it and do big productions and where you need to work fast and sometimes you handle all kinds of formats and stuff, there's other better solutions, but you're gonna pay more money for that, right? Obviously. But that's kind of, I guess, what I just briefly wanted to talk about it, right? So there's not much more, I guess, to talk about. We'll do another, like I said, actual video about like more advanced video editing machines and stuff like that.
You want to get to a couple of questions here?
Yeah.
I'm sure I missed some questions, but let me see here. Questions here from Kevin from Car Galaxy Studios. Kevin is a regular of the show, so hi Kevin.
Hi.
And question here: what did we figure out for RAID, Auray, or NAS?
Oh, for like backup, I guess.
Well, I mean, if you can have it on your editing machine. You can have an RAID Auray or so.
Well, I got this thing from B&H. It's only 2 hard drives, and you can set it up in all the different RAID configurations. I think I have it set up in RAID 1, so it works faster, but it doesn't have the redundancy backup. I believe that's the one, RAID 1 or RAID 3. I forget now. But anyways, that's what I got. And it just uses standard, 2 3.5 inch whatever hard drives, 7200 RPM, nothing fancy and stuff. Now that whole thing, I forget now what the company is. I gotta look at it, but I might do a video about it. But it's not something I would recommend right now because I got it and I can edit videos off of it and I can set it up so it automatically backs up. But man, that thing is freaking loud. Like I have it, I set up on my desk, actually behind my monitor. And it's like this built box like this, and it connects via, Thunderbolt, Thunder or whatever connection it has, and Thunderbolt, I guess that's the name. Lucas? Yeah. So it has a Thunderbolt and it has a USB 3. I connected to USB 3, and it's fast. Like when it actually works, it's fast. It's just big problem is just it's super noisy. I don't know what the hell's going on in that thing, but it's like these fans or something. So it's annoying. Like when I'm editing, I hear this thing behind my monitor going, So that's one thing that's wrong. I don't like about it. And also, I was surprised. I swapped out 2 hard drives in it. I thought maybe the hard drives were giving me problems. But whenever I start my computer app, after like 5 minutes, the hard drive will show up. It doesn't show up right away. And then when I start using it, it usually goes offline. And the first time it happened, I thought, oh shit, I lost all my footage. But then it always comes back. It's just like it has this problem with connecting it, and it's like, I don't know. I still haven't figured out a good budget solution. I mean, there's some great solutions out there. Don't get me wrong, but they're going to cost you money. So, but that's the solution I'm testing right now, and I'm kind of, like I said, been changing some settings on it, and we'll see. And yeah, anyways, I might do a video about it. But
in terms of like when you, I'm not sure because here again, Kevin from Car Galaxy, he's talking about USB 3 or Thunderbolt and so on, but. In terms of like because like one thing with laptops especially, like you'll never have enough internal storage, right? When you're editing, right? So you will need to connect external hard drives, right?
Yeah.
And when we use USB 3 connection, right? And that's been fast enough.
Oh yeah.
For editing, right?
Not only that, but people ask me like, how can you edit off of like a portable little USB 3 drive and doing like RAW? And it's no problem. Like I edit, especially like I said, it's not even a problem of the hard drive. It's if I'm in DaVinci Resolve, I can run Cinema DNG, right off of those drives, no problems. So that works.
Which makes me think that, for example, the system that I have, where I have the operating system, the application software on the SSD, and then also the original, the 1 terabyte HDD, I use it just for video file storage, right?
Yeah,
I mean that's probably good. It's a good setup because again, like the bottleneck will not be your footage being on that spinning hard drive, right?
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I mean, what was the question?
I mean, in terms of using USB, because now Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt is becoming the standard.
Well,
right?
I would say quickly just to add to that, like many people, like I said, those people tell me, oh, you shouldn't work off of portable drives and stuff. For what we do, like with my brother and the kind of stuff that, like whether it's stuff here for YouTube channel or my own personal work, I kind of have to. I mean, like I have to work off of portable drives, and you'd be surprised how many big feature films they, when it's like big, I'm saying like top of the, like Hollywood productions, then they have their own, IT team that takes care of all that stuff and storage and backup. But talking about like indie films, below $500,000 budget, you'd be surprised. They're people are juggling hard drives and this and that, and that's because these days, you might have the editor who goes online and is going to be there. Like last film I shot was in India, and we had two guys that kind of took care of the hard drives and everything. But then after we finished the principal photography, I still had to go with the director. We had to do a few pickup shots in Mumbai and some other cities, and then at the same time, the guy who was doing the editing went to Australia, I believe, and he needed to already take some of the footage with him. So basically what it came down to is multiple people all over the world need to work off of these separate drives and need to do it something, still on a budget, but something where we can quickly, like when we were in Mumbai, we were shooting extra footage, copied that on the portable, basically USB drive, then made another copy of it, and then third copy redundancy, and then one of those copies we sent then to Australia, so the editor had the extra footage and things like that. And the same thing for what we're doing, even like these YouTube videos. You're sometimes running around, and I'll shoot a little here, a little bit there. Then I'll send the hard drive to my brother, or sometimes now we're even able to upload stuff online. So we will store some stuff online, but just for our own like personal, like when I'm walking, basically traveling with my laptop and stuff. And I don't know what connection I'm going to have, like internet connection. Because when I'm in my studio and I have good internet connection, then I can just share files with my brother online. But, when you have 300 or 400, gigabytes of data, and you're on a shitty connection in some hotel room, I mean, forget about downloading that stuff, right? So you need to have it with you there. It needs to be something that's not going to take up a huge thing, and it's not some big, this big hard drive bay and stuff. So we use that, and it's not because it's the ideal and it's the most secure, but it's just, what's that barking? We have barking there? Oh, look at you bought a dog? Hey?
No, just our mom is visiting, and she had to leave her for here, and
okay.
And she was supposed to be. She's a trained dog that doesn't bark, right?
Yeah. I'm like, at first I thought, I'm like, am I hearing something? Anyways, so aside from the dog, yeah, that's the reason why we're using the drives. Anyways, I think let's get into some questions after, but I wanted to get into some of the submissions because otherwise we'll never get through them, and it's already half hour into the show. So first thing I'm going to show is very quick, but I want to show it because we didn't manage to show it last time we were doing submissions. And I think it's a cool submission. It's from, a very young filmmaker. He's a student in Australia. His name is Alexander Andrew Mhawira, I think is Mhawira. And it's just really cool. It's about this little town. He just wanted to do a video kind of showing off this town. So let me just show you guys this video. So anyways, here it is. It's called Fremantle. Enjoy it.
Follow my journey in Freer. This is Fremantle in 60 seconds. The Fremantle markets. Hey man. Music and art. Bon Scott. The Town Hall. Frio Monument Hill. The train station. Fremantle Prison. The Rainbow Container. Cicero's. The best delicious food in WA. And enjoy at the skate park Esplanade. This is my real story. What's yours gonna be?
So I wanted to share it because you guys saw it's very quick. I think it's 2 points. It's a minute. And what I love is just in a minute he's able to really kind of give you a nice kind of a visual, kind of you feel almost like you're traveling through this little town. and it just actually makes me want to check out this town. So I love the use of hyperlapse and all the cool little transitions he did in there. And Andrew already knows what I think about the video, because I did give him my feedback on the last show. It's just while we were doing that show, we had some technical problems, and not the whole video was visible online. So anyways, great work, Andrew. And now let's get into the next submission. So next submission is from Julian Laur de Manos, and he's a director, editor, and a sound, and he also was acting in it apparently. And this is kind of a student graduation project, he says, from a German film school. Oh, now I remember, I did see this, called Silent Heaven, and basically they're kind of playing on the whole Silent Hill, I believe, the Silent Hill video game. If you guys played the game, you know kind of what this is for. But because they didn't want to be, I guess, hit with a copyright or whatever strike, so they just named it Silent Heaven. But anyways, really cool film, and it's was shot on, what is it? Let's see here. I believe he did let us know. They shot it on the Blackmagic production camera. It's the one that shoots in 4K. It's like, I think, $2,000 now. It's a really affordable camera. And they shot it in 4K, but they scale it down to 1080p for the final thing. And anyways, before I kind of talk more about it, let me just, I guess, show you guys the video. And then I can give you my feedback. So here it is.
Ich habe einen Brief erhalten. Marie. Das kann unmöglich sein. Diese verdammte Krankheit. Silent Haven. Ich würde so gern noch mal einen Blick auf den See werfen. Egal, was ich hier finde, es kann nur mehr sein, als was ich jetzt habe. Marie, bist du wirklich in dieser Stadt?
Hast du einen Geist gesehen?
And there you have it. And first thing I gotta say is, wow. It's like, well, usually when we get these submissions and somebody says, it's a student project, or, in this case, student, film graduation project, you kind of go a little bit like, you know, at least for me, I get myself ready for like, okay, it's not all the way there, but but this thing, wow. I mean, if you hadn't told me that this was a graduation project, I literally watched it and I thought this was like a real trailer for a movie. Not only that, but like it looks like a real cool movie. Like what I love is, and that's kind of the cool thing about the whole horror, genre is, and why a lot of indie filmmakers first start out with that is, you can do a lot with little, because in terms of production value, meaning things that are in front of the camera, you can hide a lot because of the dark lighting. You can keep, and that's what I love in this one, is cinematography is on point, meaning there's a lot of dark in there in those images, but yet at the same time, it's just what you do see is exactly, basically, it's not too much and it's not too little. It's exactly the amount that you do need to see, and then the rest, your imagination kind of goes wild. I love the use, of volumetric lighting there with like the fog atmosphere and the flashlights. They said that they built their own, like they had a location, they kind of dressed it up to make it look like the set, and they filmed it all there. Like I said, just the lighting is very, very kind of hard, very dramatic, and it's perfect for what you need. And the big thing is it's not even just the way it's filmed, but the way it's edited and the sound design and all that stuff. I mean, like I said, there's nothing really bad I can say about it. Not only that, but I think it's just a matter of I mean, if they can manage to pull this off on a basically longer format project, if they can actually do a feature film like that, if they go do a Kickstarter or something like that, I'll be the first one to put my money towards it and like help spread the word, because I think you should go forward with, if you have a story at the end of the day, that's really what it comes down to, right? So anyways, Lucas, you have something to say about the Julian's work here?
Beautiful, looks beautiful. So very inspiring. And again, like, yeah, that, because student, I guess, films have a certain reputation, right? Right away, you're kind of prepared to see certain quality, and so it's so exciting to see a film of this quality coming for somebody so young.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. Well, anyway, so now let's look at here. Next submission is from Matt Hackney, and he's the director of photography, and he also did the coloring, and it's Bill Townley, Labor of Love, is about an amateur filmmaker from the 1960s who created the Basquifield VC to tell the story of a local war hero, Jack Basquifield, I guess. I'm like today having problems pronouncing words. Anyways, and his defiance of what is it? Arnhem in the Second World War. After the film, a statue of Basquiat was erected in his hometown of Stoke-on-Trent. Anyway, so it's a film about a thing, and this was done. What is it? Oh no, it talks about the original film. So he's covering a filmmaker who did a film about a World War II hero, and he did it for, what is it? Overall budget for him was £30. Wow. That's low. And so I'm guessing he already owned the equipment. He's shot it on the Sony A5000, the 16 to 50 lens, and also Helio lens, the 44-2. Also did audio on the Zoom H6, and edited in Adobe Premiere, and did sound in, I guess, Pro Tools in addition, he says up here. So anyways, let's check out his work here. Let's click this here.
Bill Townley, a chap I've known for almost 60 years, as a friend, and a work colleague, and as a super filmmaker.
I first bought a Kodak Standard 8 cine camera, and it cost me 10 quid, and that was the equivalent to about 3 weeks' wages. That was in those days. Your wages were just slightly under 3 quid a week, and you got to live off that. So how could I make bloody films as well on that? Anyway, I got this camera, and one of the neighbours, he was a potter, he asked me to come to the Blythebridge Camera Club. So I went there and I made tea because they were busy. And I was at this camera club for 3 years. All I did was make tea because they weren't interested in making films. Over nearly 20 years I went round taking that film just so people could have the pleasure of seeing it. I never ever made any money out of that film. It cost me money go round and work and time and money and everything to go and take that film to show it to them. I never got anything back. I didn't do it for money. It is I was wealthy, I was skint. But the thing is, you did it. And that was the end of that. That's how it went about making films. A lot of patience went into it. A lot of patience. I made them laugh in some places, telling funny stories. No, it was a labour of love. That was about all you could describe it for. We needed a bridge in the film, a location. And a chap I knew, he used to work on the railway, and he said, I know where there's a railway bridge. I said, yes, over a river, yes. Well, when I got there, I looked at it, the bridge. You couldn't see it. It was like a jungle. Just like you couldn't see the bridge. It was obscured. So I thought, right, if I want to get a jeep and some action on that bridge, that lot's got to be cleared. It took a whole week before I could get a jeep to go across that bridge.
So yeah, maybe you guys can watch the whole thing. I'm going to provide the links in the description of the video after the show is over. But you guys, I think it's fun, especially if you're an indie filmmaker, to see how indie filmmakers made films basically back in the day. Because you can see this is, in a way it was much harder because now we have really cheap and really good quality cameras. Whereas this guy shot on 60mm film, and it was just, it was not an easy process. And as you can see, he also had to do things, the kind of guerrilla style where he is getting locations from friends, or in that case he had to like literally go to this abandoned bridge and clear it all up. Or I love that little trick, like they're showing behind the scenes of that model airplane, and then how they can move the camera around it to make it look like the plane is flying. Like all those little tricks, as you can see, and many of these tricks I would say they're still applicable to this day. So anyways, I would recommend you guys, again, if you want, check out the whole film. It's going to be after the show. I'll provide the links in the description of this video. So that's for this one. My thoughts overall about the film. I think it's I love the little opening, the sound of the camera going, the clicking at the beginning, and then the interview, how you're using basically the old video footage from when he's showing the film and all that stuff, to the interview with the filmmaker, and the shot you have on there, very simple, to the point. And I kind of like that the lighting just makes you kind of concentrate on his face. It's not about the location or any of that stuff, because it's not really necessary. But I love the little intro you did with the close-up shots of the projector. Sound design was good. Maybe if I was like thinking, like, well, not right away, but maybe once the interview's kind of going a little bit in, and you already heard the filmmaker talking, I think if you could then maybe introduce some very subtle music, or it could just even some ambient sounds to create kind of help create the emotion that you're going after. I think maybe that would have just added an extra layer, but even without it, I mean, it looks really good. And actually, I watched the whole thing, so congrats to you on the film, and I hope you're successful with it. I don't know if you're submitting it to festivals or not, but if you are, I think it should get it's like one of those interesting documentaries, especially for other filmmakers, just kind of seeing how us indie filmmakers always struggled, I guess. Even back in the day, like he literally just had to go and organize a screening of his film just for with his own money, literally, just so people could see it. So anyways, Lucas, any thoughts?
No, I was just saying, it's a very interesting topic, right, of that documentary, and the way it was lit, the interview part, it was very nice, right, cinematic, and so it's just a really, it's an interesting documentary, right, and just wanted to say that, like, when is filmmaking not a struggle? I mean, it doesn't matter how much money you have, it's always a struggle, right?
I guess
that's part of the fun. If you don't enjoy the struggle, then
it's just when you have more money, it could be more stressful when you have more money, but at the same time, certain things you don't. It's a different kind of stress, I guess. Is what I wanted to say.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So, anyways, great job, Matt. And next film here we have is from Fredrick Skogstad. And anyways, he was a director and the producer of this. Is this project? It's a short film for competition for my road reel film competition. They actually have a new one this year, I believe. It's now in October or November coming up. So. You guys can check that out. Anyways, the short film has got it's 3 minutes. It's 3 minutes more or less, or had to be within 3 minutes. And wanted to do something World War II themed. He's saying there's a behind the scenes. I don't remember. Did I see this one or not? Anyways, I'll watch it right now with you guys, and I guess we can all share our thoughts afterwards. So. Anyways, here's Heinrich. I believe it's German. Here it is.
did the woman from
Halt! Wie heißen Sie?
Heinrich.
Kommt her. Wissen Sie, was geschieht, wenn wir einen Spion fangen, Heinrich?
Nein.
Unser Befehl ist, alle Informationen zu bekommen? Egal wie. Und wenn Sie keine Informationen für uns haben, dann haben Sie für uns gar keinen Wert. Dieser hier hat keinen Wert. Any last words?
Fuck off. Right?
Man, I got like lost in it here. I was watching it and didn't realize the ending is coming up. But yeah, it's good. I mean, I'm a fan of like World War II stuff, and so I enjoyed watching this. I think it's a cool story, and like how it leaves you a little bit in suspense at the end, thinking, okay, so did he basically literally just by mentioning the guy's name, did he screw him over, his friend, you could say, or did he get shot, or I don't know what's happening. So it kind of would make me want to actually see more. So I do like the ending. Overall, very well done film, nicely edited. I liked, like, for example, when he emerges out of the tent and the camera kind of moves in on him and it goes from like kind of a normal medium shot to like a close-up but looking up on him. And just those little things, like those camera moves, they add certain importance to some of these moments, and just looks cool too. So I love all that. In general, I liked it. I wasn't biggest fan of the color grading. I felt like sometimes it looked a little too video-y. I think a bit more stylized would be better, especially because it's like a World War II, like a historical and kind of a, whatever, just something that it's not, an everyday kind of right now, modern day kind of setting. So I would have maybe liked seeing that. And also the only thing to do with overall, I like the lighting at the beginning, just when the guy gets up after, the other, basically, Americans or the other soldiers were shot. When he gets up and he's like sneaking into the tent, it felt way too bright for me. I would have even, like, it basically, I understand, you can't just make a dark image because then the audience can't see anything. But I would have just said, you could have, for example, left that character, the main, guy, as he's sneaking up and going to the tent, completely black, but put him against something brighter, like an outline. So then you would have really seen that, okay, you can't see him because he's completely in pitch black, but from our angle we're seeing him against the thing. So those are the little things as a cinematographer that I guess you should maybe keep in mind. But otherwise, yeah, good film. I don't know, Lucas, any thoughts?
Well, I was trying to read the subtitles, but it was a struggle because you've got that graphic covering
the
subtitles.
Okay, sorry.
I'm not sure whether you realized that or not. But
No, I didn't. But I mean, it's easy to understand, right? The story.
Yeah, but it's sort of like, okay, yeah, whatever. Yeah, I kind of missed the story because I was trying to read, because there was just enough there to try to read it, make sense of it. And
but
anyway,
what do you think then?
No, just like one thing that right away struck. Like, I mean, yeah, it looks very nice. A cool story. Just one thing. First, it seemed that you're seeing such young characters as soldiers, kind of seemed, I guess, not real. But then I thought about the reality of World War II, especially towards the end, where kids
They
that
were.
they were fighting, right?
Yeah, exactly. Especially on the
So-
German side, right? From at least from what we hear from according to history. So yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, looks really interesting. We'd want to see more of it.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into the next submission then. So here we have next film is also a road reel, submission, road reel film festival or competition. And this one's from Matt Oshia, and it's is it a story of a lifetime adventuring and a mother's dying wish to her daughter. Oh, okay, this one I do remember seeing. Anyways, yeah, I'll let you guys watch it, and then I'll give you my thoughts. So here is the film. Oh, let me put up the audio.
A lifetime ago, I knew a girl. She was young and vibrant, full of passion and colour. She had flowing chestnut hair, a smile that warmed hearts, and a priceless necklace. She once told me a story of her trip across the world to a foreign land. It was the first time travelling, and the first of many things to come. First time across the ocean, the fresh smell of sea salt air and weather-blown hair. First time encountering different cultures, numerous and tasted flavours that drew her curiosity to try even more, and her first love that gave her butterflies and made her spin with emotion. Late one evening on her travels, she encountered a street vendor selling cheap jewellery. She stumbled upon one particular necklace engraved with a message that called to her, "Let's Travelle." When she asked the store owner what it meant, the man said that one day she would be able to give this token to another with the purpose that she would be travelling with them in spirit. She laughed and in good amusement purchased the token. She didn't realise it at the time, but this token would remind her her experiences were what counted most in life. It's funny how time goes by within the blink of an eye. We often have a blueprint of life laid out before us before we've even had a chance to think about whether we want to live in that way or not. In my latter years, I envied my memory of her. I would often question why I didn't make the same choices as her. Why did I settle for the ordinary instead of adventuring the road less travelled? Now in my old age, she's no more than a figment of my imagination, and even if I wanted to find her, I wouldn't even know how to go about it. I imagine if ever I saw her again, she'd have travelled the world and back by now. She once told me that her fear would be lying down, closing her eyes, only to wake up on her deathbed without having truly lived, and even greater than this, without passing on her priceless necklace to the person she would continue to travel the world with in spirit. To my dearest daughter, let's Travelle.
Great submission, and I guess what I like about it is that this is like a really popular new genre, the travel films, especially on YouTube. There's a lot of these film videos like that. But what I like about this one is that most travel films are just about the location, whereas here they showed the co-locations, but then they also had an actual story with like the mother and daughter. And then you see how basically she's telling her daughter, right, of when she was younger and how she used to travel and all that stuff, and passing on the knowledge. So I really like that. I think maybe for me, I love the color grading, like from that point of view, the technical aspect, like the angles, the editing, that was all spot on. For me, I also think that what's it called? I mean, I know that from the info that you submitted, that you had some problems, like for example, like getting that aerial shot. Right? I know that the one aerial shot where you're on the ATV, and it's just you guys on the road. And by the way, the filmmaker, unless I'm unless I'm mistaken, but I think that's the submission where it's basically him and his girlfriend. His girlfriend plays the younger version of the mother, but he's actually in it too as kind of her companion. Yeah, you were saying that like it was just hard getting that shot because there was always cars there, so you had to like keep on getting the shots over and over and getting the aerial angle and all this stuff. It's those little things that make it, make filmmaking fun, I guess, make it interesting. It's, sometimes you look at this shot for like 2 seconds and you don't, you might not even realize how hard it was just getting that one shot. So yeah, everything from that point of view, I think technically editing, the color grading, I think was on point because it's kind of trying to tell a real story in real settings. And the fact that you guys actually went and traveled to, what is it, in Amsterdam, I believe, and Malta and Amsterdam and then and Greece. So you guys actually went there. I guess you made a little vacation out of it. And so, you managed to take the equipment that you needed for it and you just kind of filmed it like that. I think it's really cool. It's really cool seeing these travel films now, but being taken to the next level. So that is all cool. My only thing for it is the voiceover. Sometimes I feel like it's said too much. Like it was good overall, but it was, I would have almost like left certain things unsaid, if you know what I mean. It was too like here, let me tell you about this and this and this, like dictated or said too much basically in the thing. So I would have just said like trim down some of it, maybe sometimes leave a bit more of a pause so it's not constantly narration. That's kind of my thing, or just, I don't know, rewrite the narration in a slightly different way where you can still, you don't have to say everything, but you can say basically the things and explain the kind of overall, the feeling and the story that you want, but without using so many words. Anyways, that's what I thought. Lucas? Sorry, we can't hear you, Lucas. What's happening here?
Hi.
Oh,
just
there.
because of that dog, I forgot I turned down my mic, sorry.
Oh, okay.
So, okay, so I did like it. Yeah, I liked it a lot. But yeah, the narration is not quite there. The music I didn't like the choice of music. The music was also too loud compared to the voiceover. And the narration was, too wordy. And I also thought it was not delivered well. It was a bit too, the pace of the narration was very even.
And that's what I mean, is there was no breaks in it or nothing, right? Yeah.
And probably too much was said too. So yeah, but otherwise, I mean, visually it was very, very good.
Exactly.
And story, and again, the idea of just having a story in a video like that is, you don't see it too often. So I also appreciate that.
Yep. All right. So next submission here we got is from Lasse Troelsen, and it's he was the director of photography, editor, colorist, sound, producer. The old. Basically, indie filmmaking. Basically, he was an indie filmmaker. He did everything. So he's 15-year-old, filmmaker from Denmark, and what does it say here? So, 3 years. Let me just quickly see what he submitted here. What the info is. And he's just wanted to show off his work, and he's saying, I guess want advice on what he should do to pursue his dream of becoming. Basically as a filmmaker. So anyways, let's watch Lasse's film here. So here it is, and there you guys go. So I'm going to kind of talk over it here, just while we're watching the ending of this video. Overall, what this is missing is it's some kind of a story that you can even tell just through editing. I mean, I know you're just kind of covering looks like a local football game. A lot of the shots though don't have a central, like basically point of interest or something that you're trying to show. So there's some good shots, but then there's also these shots where it's kind of like, well, what should I be looking at? So that's what I would tell you, Lasse. I mean, you kind of have to concentrate and make sure that it's okay when you're doing these live events, you just kind of go in there and you don't know what's going to happen and you're filming all these angles. But then in editing, you got to be very selective and just use the shots that really show something concrete happening in there and things like that. Because there's too many shots where you're just kind of not 100% sure what's happening, or what should I be looking at. Also, there was like a whole sequence here at the beginning. We're doing like jump cuts, like here, and it didn't quite work because you're doing these jump cuts, but the shots are almost identical. Like it wasn't a big thing. So in this case, I would have just done jump cuts to other shots completely. Let's see, here's another shot where it's like, I don't know, what should I be looking at there? Like the tables or, like these tables or people there or the backs of these people. So those are the kind of things. Like those are just shots that I would have not included. Also, there were some shots that were, like you see, a lot of this was shot in overcast. And then there were some shots that were done when the sun came out, I guess, and you were on a gimbal, so you didn't manage to change the camera settings. But in the color grading, you can again kind of equalize the shots, so they kind of look like they were still shot more or less, or they have more or less the same feel. So those are the kind of things to keep in mind. Otherwise, I would say if you want my advice on becoming a filmmaker, keep on doing kind of what you did here. Just basically keep on filming, keep on getting better each time, because by actually going, that's the best thing you can learn, is actually by going and filming and ask whether it's my opinion or other people's opinion, but always take the feedback, think about it. You might not agree with everything, but then don't just disregard it. Just kind of go, okay, maybe this is what I should have done better, and each time try to get better and better. And that's really what it comes down to, because at the end of the day, to become successful at anything, first you got to be able to actually produce that, the product or whatever, that deliver that service that you're trying to sell yourself as. And as a filmmaker, that's pretty much all it really comes down to. If you have a good enough reel and you have a lot of cool videos and films that you've done that just look good, then your work is going to find you in a way, especially these days online. So just keep it up, do more videos. Lucas, any thoughts?
What you said makes total sense and applies to not just filmmaking, anything, right? And it's so good to be able to just put your work on YouTube and other platforms and get feedback, right? So that's really, because that's actually in business or anything, like it's really difficult to get honest feedback, and big companies, they pay people to come in and tell them the truth, what they think about their product. So it's take advantage of the criticism you can get, constructive criticism that you can get online, and you'll get better. And you are at a good level right now, and so I'm sure you can make it work for yourself, right? Whatever goals you set for yourself.
Yeah, if you just work on it, right? So, all right. So next submission here is from Hendrik, and it's another, you could say, kind of a travel video, and it's about skiing. He literally went on a vacation with his friends to Switzerland, and he did this video here. So anyways, we can talk more about it afterwards. Enjoy it for now. So let me kind of talk about this video, and I'll tell you this. you definitely are not lacking in terms of epic-looking locations. I mean, just those mountains, those peaks, the valleys. I mean, especially when you have a drone here flying around, it's just like wow, right? The location is really nice, and it's so just use that to your advantage. What I think this video basically could have done better with is literally don't include all the shots. Like that's where a lot of times I think people underestimate editing is there's all these epic shots and then every so on you cut to these shots that are just like not all the way there. Like I love this here, the fact that you guys actually all synchronize or doing all that, basically the moves at the same time, then the cutting or like to the music as the guys pass you, like here past the camera, that's all epic. But then for example look at this shot and then here it gets shaky and all that stuff, just cut that out. Or this shot here where everybody passes by but it's just kind of like you can't quite see them, their heads are cut off. Just cut that out. Include, let's say, a quick shot of this. This looks really epic. Just basically in editing, you got to be very selective. Kind of like this term that a lot of filmmakers, like feature film filmmakers, say, in editing is the process of killing your babies. Because literally, you spend all this time shooting all this footage, and you have to be very selective and very cruel in a way, and just be like, oh, I don't care that we spend all this time trekking here, or whatever. Logistically, it was very difficult to get the shot. If the shot doesn't look good, don't include it. You got some nice time lapses and things like that. It's better to make a shorter video, I would say, and have a video that has just the right shot, like every shot is beautiful, then make it, I want to make it a bit extra longer and just then include a few of these bad shots, because a few bad shots are going to then create an overall impression that the whole video is like, not all the way there. Versus, and let's say you make a video that's 5 minutes long, but it has like a bunch of bad shots in it. Versus, let's say you make a video that's 1 minute long, but you cut out all the bad stuff. Then people are suddenly going to go, wow, okay, this guy's good. And you definitely have some cool angles. Later on, even you have like some point of view, angles and stuff like that. So there's some cool angles. But like I said, it's just, then there's you're including the bad stuff with it. So you got to just be careful with that. Lucas?
Yeah, it was just a bit too repetitive, right?
Yeah, also because you're at the same location, but I think if he had kept those dramatically different shots, then it's okay. It's just make it shorter and just include the good shots, right?
I like the choice of the music too, but that's kind of it's very subjective. But
yeah. All right, so here's the next submission here. It's from Rich Sibert, and it's he was a director photography, editor, colorist, producer, and other. You know the drill. Anyways, and he's basically saying big lesson he's learned is that it's the big lesson I guess for him was that he realized that he took too much onto himself, basically as many of us indie filmmakers do, and as he puts it, his brain was fried. So he says next time he's definitely gonna have to put away some money and actually hire a crew. But anyways, he just wanted to share his work with us. So let me just bring it up here so you guys can see it. And it's called the Fist Don't Bite, and it's got actually some mature content, but I'm not going to show the whole thing because it is actually it's 15 minutes long. So I'll provide the link to it. It's got some, like I said, some nudity, some violence, but I do like certain things about it, and we can kind of talk about it after I show you guys just a bit of the film here. Well, come on, Vimeo. Vimeo's taking a while to load. There it goes again. Alright, guys, let me just pause this right now, and maybe, I don't know if it's gonna load or not, but for some reason, and this is, like I said, has nothing to do with my internet connection, because my internet connection here has been amazing, and whenever just do outside from doing work, streaming movies and stuff, everything works. But Vimeo, for some reason, it's just, I don't know, it's just choking. It's I don't know. That's one of the reasons why I kind of just haven't been really active on Vimeo lately. But so that's why in the future, if you guys submitting links, just submit YouTube links. It's just they work a lot smoother. But anyways, I'll kind of quickly tell you about the film. What I love about it is that he took the time to find the right car, the certain things about the costumes, even certain locations, like the production value. It really creates this kind of a I would say almost like this Quentin Tarantino-esque kind of feel of like those 90s movies that he used to make, and for that genre I think it fits. So I like that. The color grading is also a little bit unusual. It's very like low contrast, but again I think it kind of has this older kind of a faded film look that I like. So that's cool. For me, it was just, again, something that could have been fixed up in editing overall. But like again, I'll show you guys a bit of it. But I think you'll see if you want, you guys can watch again the full thing. I'll provide the links. But for me, a lot of these films could just be cut down a little bit quicker. Like there's not that much of a story for a 15-minute or almost 15-minute in this case length film. I think this could have been told easily under 10 minutes, maybe even close to 5 minutes. So, but anyways, let's see now if Vimeo will cooperate here.
Some people are just blessed, Then there's people like me that want to do good, and as hard as we try, we just fail. And it's something I don't understand. Life's funny that way. Sugar, I asked you nicely to clean up your mess. Just got this thing.
Fuck you, Billy. For the record, half the shit back there is yours anyways. Maybe it'll rain later and wash all the rust off this thing.
So here, let me just kind of maybe jump forward again.
Oh, thank you, darling.
If Vimeo will cooperate. You guys can kind of see. Nope, it's not cooperating. It doesn't want to load. Anyways, I think I'm just gonna... there it is. Yeah, later on they go... There's one guy and two girls, they go to a motel room, so you guys can kind of figure out what's gonna happen. But And like especially now, like if you guys just being able to see that opening sequence, I think you'll agree with me that like when he finishes filling up the car and you have the voiceover, right, and you have that cut to his freeze frame with his name, and then he walks over to the car. In editing again, those are moments there to speed up the action, because then voiceover ended. There's this dead space before the next line is delivered, and to make this a bit more snappy, so like the voiceover ends, boom, the character delivers a line, then the girl replies. You just have to find creative moments to edit, and even just watching it right now, that opening sequence, there's a moment there where he's like walking around to the car, and it's not necessary to show him walk all the way to the window and then cut inside the car where he's basically talking to the girl. You can cut already inside and just cheat it, make it look like he was actually much closer. Same thing when the girl gets out of the car and then she responds. And then, again, there's like this dead silence and nothing's happening. And because in editing, you just got to cut those moments out. You don't need to see her getting out of the car for the whole thing. So those are the kind of things that I would say. Also, it really did need some kind of music for this style. It's like almost like a modern Western kind of look. It needed some kind of like this kind of stylized music, kind of like what Quentin Tarantino films in the 90s had. So you kind of want to put that in there to kind of again build up that. When you have those freeze frames and the titles pops up and things like that, just to make it a little bit more snappy, more cool looking, basically. But yeah, and overall, I'll tell you, it is an interesting story. I don't think it's a story for 15 minutes. I think it should have just been cut down. And those are some of the ways where you can, if you did all these little trims in all these little scenes, it would have easily taken out a few minutes out of this film. I don't know, Lucas, you want to add something to this?
I mean, the colors were off now.
Well, no, I mean, it's different. Like I said, it has this kind of a stylized, faded kind of film look, which I think it's cool. That I don't mind it. It's different looking, you know what I mean? Like, but it doesn't look like video, right?
It doesn't look like video, and I appreciate that, it's not a film that takes place right now, so it's stylized right away, and it takes obviously extra effort to shoot something like that, right? So, but yeah, I don't know, it seemed, not that I need nice colors, but it seemed too flat.
Okay.
Colors, for me, anyway. But and otherwise, second to what you said about terms of editing.
Okay. All right. So next here submission is from.
Can you take the overlay off the?
Oh, okay. Next submission is from Mrugank. Man, I'm just, and some of these names are not easy to pronounce. But anyways, again, I'll just provide the link and you guys can check it out and the filmmaker's name. But he was the editor on this project, and it's like a music video that's supposed to. It's for fans of Game of Thrones. So I'm not actually, if you can believe it, I'm not a fan of Game of Thrones, and I've never actually. Well, I've watched little parts of it, but that's about it. So I don't know much about Game of Thrones, other than what I've seen like from advertising. But I know people are going ape crazy, basically for that show. So hopefully there's some Game of Thrones fans right now that can enjoy this. So here it is.
While the night is dark, full of terror, and winter is finally here, Flea Bottom's really a place, King's Landing's really the game. Kings will die like flies, the dead will rise. It's normal when you're playing the Game of Thrones. It's hard to keep an open mind when all your stars are dead by season 3, and you're playing the Game of Thrones. Cersei and Daenerys, very struggle, Littlefinger, I just name. All men must die, Valar Morghulis. That's what we do. We drink and we know things. The North will remember, the North will not forget. You have to play the game of words like ancient Pictionary when you play the Game of Thrones. Ice will bring the walkers, while the fire brings the dragons to the fold. And you're playing the game.
All right, so I'm kind of going to jump in here because we should be wrapping up the show. But what I find cool about this is that somebody like me, who's not a fan of or just hasn't watched Game of Thrones, I was able to, just by watching this, kind of get an idea already of what the show is about, and like some of the, you could say, it gives away a little bit of the story if I cared about watching it from the beginning of the show, which in a way it's funny for me because now having seen this, it doesn't make me want to see the show. Not that this video is bad, it's just not the kind of genre. I'm not into fantasy, dragons, that kind of stuff really myself. So yeah, I'm just not interested in this kind of stuff. But as far as the music video itself, editing, I think it's cool that you're, it's a slow pace and you're using these transitions and, you have these nice, artwork that you're transitioning to. I just know that like I watched the whole video already beforehand, and to me it gets very repetitive. Like by the end of it, it's because it's just one performance really shot on one location of the singer and then the keyboard player on the black background, and it's cool. It's a cool looking shot with like the dramatic lighting, and then it's just the drawings, right, the artwork. So to me, it just gets a little repetitive afterwards. Maybe if there was like some just drastically different lighting on this performance here, or some angles, then maybe it will be a bit better. But it's not that it's bad. It's good. It's just, like I said, to take it to the next level. But the fact that you guys actually put together an original song and all that stuff, and that you're catering to the fans of the show, I think it's really cool. So I'm sure anybody who's a fan of the show will probably like this video. So. Anyways, thank you for the submission and beautiful artwork, by the way. I don't know who drew this, if this was actually the editor here who submitted the work or not, but anyways, there's still a whole bunch of other submissions, but it's already 1:30, so I think we're going to be finishing up the show, unfortunately, and plus we've gotten many more submissions this week, so anyways, we'll be getting to all of those, like I said, and there's some really, really cool ones that I was hoping we would get to towards the end, but as you can see, it takes a lot longer than at least for me, a lot longer than I always anticipate. I always think the show is going to end at this time, and then time just flies by. So I think anyways, that's it. Any last words, Lucas? Any updates you want to
People are criticizing you for not liking Game of Thrones.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm not a. Hey, listen. I'm sure it's a great thing. And funny enough, I actually did a little bit of work on like the first season that ever came out, because I worked with a company in Toronto that does effects for it, and I did some freelance work for them. So I actually did some work on the show. But anyways, yeah, it's not my cup of tea. What can you say? But. Other than that, I don't know. Anything else, Lucas? Any last questions I can answer? Any updates? Anything like? Yeah, let me know, guys. What's up with you? What's happening? Actually, some people were asking me like that I've been awfully quiet this week. Although I did drop a new video yesterday about the zoom lenses. I'm comparing 70 to 200. So if you guys are looking to get zoom lenses, probably you want to check out that video. But what has happened in the last week? Well, not much is what I would be saying. Well, is what I would be saying exactly, but Lucas spoiled it now. Is that
new project.
I basically, for me at least, a lot has happened because my wife gave birth to our second son. So it was actually last Sunday. Literally, we finished the show. We finished at like again a little bit past 1. I went out to get lunch. My wife calls me. My water broke. Boom! I drive back. Go to the hospital, and then later that evening on Sunday, my son was born, 7 pounds, 13 ounces, and yeah, everything's good now. Everything, like my wife, my son, we're back home, and you know, and that's one of the reasons why I haven't been able to do my regular kind of work and do all, you know, put out as many videos. But probably gonna take it easy for easy in terms of work for another week. I'm still gonna have new videos coming out, but just not going to be as active on Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff. But definitely keep the submissions coming for the show. And because next week we're going to do the show and we're going to get to the submissions I didn't get to today and the new ones that we got. Lucas, any last words?
I'll see you guys next week and have a good week.
All right. See you. Bye.